finally here with Dr. Sweta that we were not able to connect before via Instagram due to technological situations, but we are here and just wanted to get back to this incredible topic and honor your time and your wisdom. So for all that will be seeing you in the future after we record this, please tell the world who you are, what you do. And I'll share my part, what attracted me to you and how connected I feel to you and how grateful I am for all your teachings and your wisdom. And for me, the way you share your wisdom in such a raw, natural way and passionate how you just convey your wisdom, it has really made a difference in my life and what I do. So I just want to thank you so much for this space and just welcome the space that we have planned together. Yes.
Thank you, Val. You are a lovely person, and thank you for inviting me. I think I always tell everybody, in any speeches that I go, I said I'm a brain plumber. Unfortunately, my job is to fix the brain, but that is not what I like. I really like to kindle the normal brains. I think brain is one sophisticated instrument which good Lord has made, but without a manual. So I think my job is to bring all the wisdoms of the neuroscience to the world, because in my own life, quite frankly, if I am to think, that can I treat kidney? No. Can I treat a heart? Absolutely no. All I can do good is with the brain, because that one piece, if everything is fine with it, all goes well. So there's something called psycho, neuro, physio, immuno, endocrinology. You start from the mind, psycho, neuro, physio, immuno, endocrinology, which means if you fix this right, everything goes right. So that is what attracts me about the brain. And thank you again for your very kind words. But my mission for life is that if we are utilizing the small little principles of neuroscience or brain, we can make big differences in people's life. And that is why I'm here on this call with you. Thank you, Val, again.
Wow, well said. Thank you so much. So tell the audience where you are, what you do on a day-to-day. I mean, you're giving us a taste, but literally, where do you work? And just so we understand more about your work. And of course, I'm like over the moon about your book. So give us a little bit more about you.
Absolutely. So I am a neurologist, brain plumber, aka a car neurologist. So I live in Dubai. So I work with a group called Arabian Healthcare Group. But as I said, my passion, I live, think, dream, eat, sleep, everything about brain in normal lives. Although I am partly administrator as well as a part, so I'm a medical director, medical operations with the group called Arabian Healthcare Group in Dubai. But sort of my hobby and passion has always been to dig deeper into people's personalities and types of the brain. I mean, we all know what kind of body type we have, right? We all know whether we are fat, lean, the type of the muscle mass that we have, but we don't teach or learn what is the brain type and the thinking wiring that we have. So that has been my research for almost like 8 years, and my own sort of the career led me to get into the research of it. Interestingly enough, so I'll just tell a little bit about myself in my sort of the background. So I come from India, and both my parents were doctors, and I got a bag full of marks. I was academically good, and then I wondered, what do I do next? I had zero clue, absolutely zero clue where am I heading. And my parents said, why don't you try medicine? So I indeed came into medicine with the pretext of trying it out. 5 years of MBBS, 1 year of internship, 1 year of pre-medicine, 3 years of medicine, 1 year of pre-neurology, 3 years of neurology, and 2 years in stroke. 15 years, and I fell in love. I mean, it's like living with a partner, right? You ought to fall in love with when you live for long enough, and that's what exactly happened to me. So I fell in love with this wonderful thing called brain, and thank God I chose brain. As I said, that was something which was great and amazing. When I finished this, now this is the climax, right? Everything is going fine. I got 13 gold medals, academically doing good. But one fine day, it was a very, very, very cold night in Canada, because that's where I did my master's and fellowship from in Calgary. It was minus 40 degrees centigrade, like that's real cold. I was sipping a cup of coffee, and I wondered, what kind of life I want to live. Who am I? What is it that I'm here for on this planet Earth? What is my contribution? And is my talent, my purpose, sort of, the ikigai, the Japanese proverb for finding your own purpose, is it something which is sort of right in my life? Now, question is, who will answer these kind of questions? I mean, at this age, when you have finished your studies, etc., and all, I said, okay, I take a 6 months break, and I said, I am only going to search my own self. So my discovery that who I am and what I can do better, etc., all started in those 6 months, and those were very, very important days of my life. I had a spiritual teacher, which is I'm very, very fortunate that she was in my life when I was 16 years. So there was this spiritual background, but I had to give some time to understand me. And that 6 months were pivotal. I did around 70 psychometric tools. I went and met the topmost career coaches in the world. I went around literally, every place. I traveled to 33 countries just to understand, meet people, understand the cultures, understand what is going on, etc. So those 6 months were very important in my life. And one thing I realized is that my brain is uniquely wired. My impressions are uniquely, posted in my brain. My environment and surrounding can be changed provided I understand where I'm heading towards. So with that, my journey with discovery and what I can do with the brain, what I can do spiritually to understand the self, everything began from there. And it's about 10 years. And it has been like a beautiful roller coaster ride for me. From Canada, I go to India, and I somehow, try to do a job, etc. and all, but it was not something which I was meant for, just few patients. I always wanted to work at scale. So that's when I said, okay, pack my bags, and I go ahead and work with Central Africa. So I used to base in Kinshasa, and I used to travel around Central Africa for 3 years. And then I sort of moved down to UAE. Then I said, I need to upskill myself. So I went ahead and did an MBA from University of Cambridge. I was full scholarship because of the work that I did over the years in acute stroke care, etc. So again, that gave me a very different perspective of life. So I have been so-called an atypical doctor who likes to not just, just be with the patient during that time, because I like to meet many people, to do work at scale. And this sort of came out from my own journey of career progression, and this is just a bit of it, because literally I can say that I've been experimenting with life. And that experiment thankfully has turned out to be a good one. But I hope that most people, or most students post-college or high school, don't have to go through this roller coaster, but they can get an answer right from the start that this is who you are, this is your thinking pattern, this is the wiring, this is what you can do best, and here you go, where you can make a big change to the world, society, planet at large.
That's an insane story. Congratulations. Wow. See, I did not know all of this about you. So for me, it's such a gift to get to know you more, who's behind this beautiful human being who is creating changes. Because I mean, who talks about like, what type of brain are you, to really know who we are, what kind of brain, what are the tools that we can activate, change, integrate into our daily life to make the best of our life now. The self-discovery happens regardless, but if you know how to operate best, you will have your results sooner and enjoy life sooner and have an impact in your life, and in doing so in the life of others sooner. So we don't have to wait until the tragedy hits, or in my case, you have a deep depression that almost takes your life, till you figure it out. You do this trip at 50 years of age, praying for the last healing to happen. This is a true story, guys. If you are just tapping into my own story, and there is a video on YouTube called The Untold Story of Val Alino. And this is the type of conversations I like to have with Dr. Sweta, like what happens with your brain when you've been abused and all these traumas. And it's so one clear question that comes up to me is, there's the one aspect of so many of us that have already had a big brain trauma, and we're older, and we didn't start sooner, and here we are at 50, legit story. And I think I'm equipped, but yet I still want to know more. And I've had obviously so severe trauma in my brain that actually you've been wanting to scan, but the 3 times I've been in Dubai, we haven't been able to do that. But you will get a scan of my brain, because I'm really interested in your work. And so we got the one group like me, and then we got the group that are like we have all diverse followers that are like fresh out of college or going into college, and they want to learn this so they don't have to experience what people like me have experienced. Where do we start?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I think there are people who, and I think self-discovery, as you rightly mentioned, has no age, right? I mean, every person at some point in life will ask that question, what is it that I can offer to the world better? What is it that I can do for self understanding of that thing? So both from the perspective of the post-college students or early high school students, if we do it early on, it's good for them, because now they can build the skills appropriately. So that is the reason why I say that, your brain blueprint, which is what you can do best, your strengths, your opportunities, your resistances, the techniques which you want to do it early on, so that you are not disengaged. You can, and I think 21st century is an amazing place to live. I mean, look at all the industry 4.0, the changes. I mean, we went ahead from physical labor to mental labor. Everything is happening robotically, all the artificial intelligence, the automations, which are amazing. So I think in this era, to be born itself is a privilege, because now, the robots and every machine is going to take care of your normal stuff. But what you need to do is still understand what is it the best that you can. So I have in my book, Future Ready Now, which is now available across 3,000 stores worldwide, Kobo, Kindle, everywhere. What I have said to the people around is that, let's invert the Maslow's pyramid for this generation. The generation we call Generation Alpha, who are born after 2010, let us invert the pyramid. You and me, Val, when in our early life, we had to take care of our food, shelter, all the basic needs. But people right now, the born children, are very fortunate. All that is taken care. So if we invert it, what comes first is self-actualization and self-realization. So for them, this kind of deep discovery of what you are capable of, how you can change your brain patterns, how you can do best, in terms of getting your skills right, is something which I don't think so would remain a luxury. I think at one point, this all should become sort of an integral part of the curriculum in the schools. And coming to your second part, which is adults, I mean, I'm always, I used to be curious reading these surveys of Gallups and all that, X number of people, and that is almost 40-50% for people are disengaged at work. People don't love what they do, and people are always slogging on Mondays. Whenever I used to read that was painful. I mean, if you have a Monday blue, that means something is wrong. You are doing the work which is not for you. I mean, I never feel tired one single day. I see roughly around 7,000-8,000 patients a year. I meet roughly around 500 students a year. I have zero weekend. I do all kinds of activities. I play music. I am a harmonium player. I play table tennis. I travel around the world, but there's not a single day where I am not joyous. So and that's the real reason, is because the work is not work for me. Work is my identity. Work is who I am. If we are able to do this for many people across the globe, I think the equation will change. I am damn confident that the GDPs will change, the economies will change, the happiness index. And that is what I love about Bhutan, right? You must have heard about the country Bhutan, yes, who is not measuring the GDP, but what is measuring the happiness index. Because end of the day, the joy, the happiness comes out from doing something meaningful, creative, and noble. And this was what my spiritual teacher told me, that in life, you can forget about everything, but if you keep this combination of 3 things right, creative, meaningful, and noble job, your job is done. So irrespective of the ages, I think, well, we have to get this across to people to just, life is beautiful. I mean, we are all privileged, I would say, to have a wonderful life. And I go to every single day to a ward, where somebody is paralyzed or somebody has lost its speech. And so the type of the work that, we have in neurology is depressing, right? So whenever I look at them, I feel that, I'm very honored, I'm very privileged that I don't have that problem. So, yeah.
This is beautiful. And I love these three aspects that you say. To have a job that is meaningful, creative, and noble is like not having a job and really being in bliss and happiness. And I really, truly believe and echo on this aspect of happiness, because why do we keep on carrying and carrying and carrying? And like, I actually just got off of a coaching session, and my client just had absolutely like nowhere to see joy in her life, because she's been a puppetry of her own culture and religion and all of this. She's 37 now, and just can't see the joy. Even when I asked, so forget about everything that has happened, and I got her in a state of just connecting. I said, okay, now open your eyes and tell me something that you show joy is about. And there's nothing to be, shared. Or the other question that I ask is, what do you like? People are disconnected to that vibration of what they like, because again, we have succumbed to what we've been puppetries of. So does your book tell us, will this combine, and maybe that your book will guide us in how to really tap into joy, how to really know how to operate with the brain, whatever brain you have in this particular moment, and how you can shift, change, and activate things that will elevate your spirit to live, period, the end, in joy.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let me bring in some basic neuroscience. So brain is formed of two essential structures. One circuit is called limbic circuit or emotional circuit, and one circuit is called the rational circuit. Now, we all evolved, into human beings. We never were packaged and directly sent as human beings. So we were creepy, crawly creatures, lizards. We went on to become mammals, and then we went on to become humans or apes just before the humans, right? In that process of evolution, however, the little tiny brains or the insecure brains or emotional brains of those lizards is also right here. And a little bit advanced mammalian brain with all the love and the care and what can be transacted is also there. And then the advanced rational brain, which can make decisions, is also there. But what happens for majority of the people, and some moments you and me combine both, that we live in the limbic brain. We live in those lizard brains, which means we are always fearful, we are always angry, we always impulsive, we always react, we never respond, we are always not sure of our identity, we are disconnected, as you rightly mentioned. But if we go through the evolution process, and if we are able to tap this rational cortex, in the neuroscience we call it the prefrontal cortex, is the guru of all the brain lobes. If we are able to tap that, we will be less anxious, we will be more connected, we will think right. I think that thinking right, taking the right kind of decisions is important. And interestingly, it's so funny and interesting that you cannot develop that prefrontal cortex by just saying that, okay, this is my prefrontal cortex, I'll keep giving some messages and it will grow, or I'll keep doing some mental exercises or some brain exercise that it will grow. It grows through meditation techniques. It grows through right breathing techniques. It grows through mindfulness practices. So majority of the people, I can say that whoever has been successful, and that is what we are doing right now. In fact, we are doing a project which you just said that, I would like to hook your brain into, is the project that we are doing, what we call as success signatures. Tell me one thing, why somebody at a certain place, and success, when I say, is a multifactorial success. Your relationships are great. Your wealth is not a problem. Health is not a problem. Your job is great. You can do wonders, So in that successful, why is one person in a particular situation is successful, why one is slogging? Why one person has control over everything while the other person is always nagging or always in misery? one person has sort of mastered that art, while the second person, what is that? So that circuits of the brain, we are actually now mapping for majority of the millionaires, the CEOs, the people like you, who have, I think your story is also wonderful and amazing, that, how you were able to just break through and just deliver what you were set out for. So what is in you? What is that special thing? So have you developed that prefrontal cortex? What kind of activities have made you get and tap into that part of the brain, that rational brain, which we all need? Technically, today, in the current time, I feel and I see that there is deficiency or lack of this prefrontal cortex, which we can become instrumental in at least making people realize this is what you need to build on. 5% of our mind is conscious. 95% of our mind is subconscious or unconscious. Now, whatever we talk of manifestation, the thing that you can make it happen, you are connected to the cosmos or the cosmic, is not happening in the conscious mind. It's happening in the subconscious mind. And that access is only through this prefrontal cortex. So it is so important for us to, first of all, understand, that's why I said, I wish there was a manual. And in the ancient Indian literature, there used to be ton of those manuals which were talking about all this. But now, we just have to scientificalize, I'm just making up a word, scientificalize this whole thing to make people understand that this is real. You can make it happen. All your worries and all the problems that you have in life, that can disappear without doing anything physical. Now that's the beauty of the power of the brain and the mind and the thing that we're talking about.
That's fascinating to me. Fascinating. And as an NLP practitioner, I've learned a lot, but this information has just blown my mind. And I read, a little bit about it, but you just explained it so beautifully. And this is what I love about your work. I've seen you on stage. I was able to be on stage with you in Dubai with an event that we had, and the way you just convey the information is very impactful and transformational. Thank you for that clarity. And of course, our audience will put more intention into their and our meditation. I'll include myself. I'm thankful to be meditating every day, and that's part of my life. But I'm telling you, I'll sit longer. I will.
No, 100%. I think the beauty about meditation or these practices is that, we are human being. We are not human doing. Unfortunately, that is what the world has become, human doing. You have to get away from doing and just step into that little bit of human being, which can make a big difference in people's life. And I don't believe alone in allopathy. So if a patient comes to me and walks to me with a particular problem, I'm the last person who would give a pill solution. So I always believe in low pill or no pill. And one of my advices to every single patient also who's physically suffering, mentally suffering, has been that spend some time with you. Spend some time knowing that subconscious mind. Spend some time in fixing your breathing patterns. In fact, if you can do one little experiment, we can do it for our audience, just to understand what is the capacity of the mind right now. Is it anxious? What is happening in the mind? All you do is, I'm just going to show it, that you just put one finger breath to your nose, and then you sort of keep pushing it out until you get the breath, the flow of the air. Wherever you stop getting the flow of the air, you stop the finger movement. I'm talking, so I'm not doing it, but you can do it, Val. Wherever you feel that the air is not hitting, you can stop your finger at that point in time. This is a very, very easy way to know what is your level of the mind function or the activity which is going on. So I think somewhere there, I was able to gauge that was the, now this is an average sort of the distance that we find. But if you have very low distance, that is what indicates a very, very stable, a calm mind. The farther you go, that sort of indicates a very agitated mind, which means you're breathing too much, And it's so interesting that if there is one switch which God Lord has made, and which you can, or which you should, and which you must understand is breathing. Why we need to have diaphragmatic breathing or pranayam practices as per the ancient Indian. Now, this is a direct access to these prefrontal cortex. The moment you want to build this subconscious strap, you want to make the muscle of the prefrontal cortex strong, all you do is breathe right. So share me some of your experiences, Val, of meditation and practices that you have been doing.
Well, I've been doing meditation, and actually I have been blessed to be introduced to pranayama through actually a nonprofit that I serve in Atlanta. And there is an Indian guru who's leading Food for Lives. It's a nonprofit that serves the homeless. And so even during the pandemic, we had we were introduced online and had these circles of connection every day, and through the screen we were able to do that. To be honest, I am not like every single day doing it, but I do sit on the mat and I do recognize and work on my breath. But now I'm telling you, I'm a good student, and I love to learn. I will tap into that more. And also, I mean, we can advise here our audience, what is the best way when they're like, prana who, like, they don't really know where to start, and really also share with them that it's not really something that takes too much time, and yet it makes such a difference. So tell us what that would look like, how everybody can integrate it.
Absolutely. So do you brush your teeth? I always ask every single person whom I meet, I said, you don't miss to brush your teeth. So the same way you don't miss to breathe right. I mean, it's just spending some 5 minutes of your life. I mean, those 5 minutes can be extremely potent when it comes to the outcome of it, which can happen in life, right? I mean, the amount of the things that you can do in your life just by, setting, it's like a switch. And I have a video in one of my other sessions. It's called the amygdala hijack, which means most of the times when we are faced with stress, as you were talking about your client prior, whenever you're faced with the stress, the issues that are popping in, there is fight, flight, or freeze. You don't know what you want to do. And this is a normal limbic response, normal emotional brain's response, normal undeveloped brain's response, or normal sort of a response which is we have evolved into, right? So that's bound to happen. It's survival of the fittest. You just have fight, flight, or freeze. Now, if we want to break this pattern, then we need to at least spend 5 minutes, and nothing fancy, guys. It is just simple pranayam, which means your breath work. You can call it breath work, breath techniques, diaphragmatic breathing, vagal breathing, vagus tone, activation of the vagus is the longest nerve, by the way, in the body, which controls our parasympathetic and sympathetic system. That parasympathetic, the one is what we are talking about. Simple 5 minutes, and that's what I practice as well. It's like, it's literally like brushing the teeth. All you do is very, very, very simple. And maybe in one of the other sessions, we can have dedicated breathing techniques teaching to our people, And meditation is, there's a lot of variety of techniques, and people can get confused. And all simply, which has to be done, is being a witness to your thoughts. Now, let's say if I tell you, don't think of a pink elephant. What did you just do?
Think the elephant right away on the spot.
Absolutely. So you cannot tell the mind to stop thinking. That is the property of the mind. Mind is not going to stop thinking. That is what the mind's job is. Now, it is diligently doing the job, but you are not doing the diligent job of just witnessing it. So I feel that, the meditation is nothing but mere witness of those flow of thoughts, what is happening. It can be negative, it can be positive. A lot of people tell me, oh my God, that was the time when I was bombarded with all the things which I never knew had. It was something which was very disturbing. It's okay. Doesn't matter. You don't dissect, and very interestingly, one of my spiritual teachers, many years told me, Shweta, don't dissect here. Bring your mind out on the table and dissect there, which means do not internalize your problems or your issues, externalize them. Just bring it on table, dissect it, whatever you want to do with your mind, and put it back. And this has sort of stayed with me forever,
I love that.
Yeah. essentially what she was talking about in the scientific or neuroscience terms is dissociate with your limbic system. Your emotion is going to absolutely influence your thinking, and your thinking will be influencing your emotion. But what if you're just disconnecting that? You are no more the emotion, and you are just the witness of it, and that's it. I think this is the key to have any kind of life that one can deserve. You can do wonders. Now, let me just talk a little bit neuroscience here as well. Brain is composed of left side and right side, right? There is a left half and a right half, and there is a very thick band of fiber, which is called corpus callosum. Now, I always wondered, why God would not have just put one single brain. Why to make it so complex? And, the anatomy of it takes 1 year to learn. It is just impossible to memorize so many circuits which are happening. It's like a spider web, so many firings, 100 trillion synapses, 100 billion neurons. And it's just fascinating. A 5-year-old child or a 3 to 5-year-old child, you can have easily 7 to 8,000 synapses happening per second. That is the speed with which, things are happening in the brain. The memory of my brain right now, I can leave about 300 years of computer on with all the memory to exhaust even what I have right now. Imagine, so I always wondered, why is it made so complex? But there is a reason behind it. Because we have two limbs, we have this beautiful arrangement of the left side and the right side. So my left side is controlling the right and my right is controlling the left. And there is a signal going across the corpus callosum. And that is because we have to choose things. Life is all about choices. And each part of the brain has been given certain preferences for choices. Isn't it beautiful? Like the left brain has certain choice preference, the right brain has certain choice preference, the limbic brain has certain choice preference, and the rational brain has certain choice preference. And in the book, it's just labeled as type 1, 2, 3, 4. That's simple as
So
that.
in your book, we'll be able to learn all this.
That's right. Yes.
Oh, this is beautiful.
All
And
these
it's
four parts,
this is I'm telling you, as soon as I get to the US, I'm getting my copy. And of course, I don't know, probably in Dubai, I'm assuming I'm coming to get it signed by you. And then you can have my brain to scan.
Absolutely.
I do want to ask you one point. I don't know how much time we have left, but there's two aspects. Well, first, I want to go and tap into a little bit the title that we had chosen to speak about, which is all embedded already now. But the one aspect that is really important in the work that we do, and especially the one I've been focusing on, and it's the inspiration for my upcoming book. It's the journey back into your heart, how to live in love with you, your life, and your path. How much, we talked about the importance of joy into your life, but this love, right? Starting from within us to bring it out, how much does that factor play into the development and all the things that we're able to do or not to do with the brain that really, the fact of the love aspect into our lives? How does that play the role into our brain and our life?
A very big aspect, Val, and it would be a great, amazing journey to write a book. I think that those kind of wisdom pearls, the going through that experience and then putting it out to the world is very, very valuable and incredible. The joy and the love and the self-talk. I think talking to the self that you are important. There is something about you to contribute to the world. That self-love is of absolute prime necessity for actually making the limbic system fireless, quite frankly, because the self-love is the one which the brain connects as the supreme. It's the highest form of love. It's you are connected to everybody. In fact, you are not connected to self, but in that regards, in the cosmic energy universe regards, you're connected to everyone. So it's one with everyone. And that is the highest exercise, I would say. So if people are not able to breathe well, forget about it. If you cannot give meditation time, you're too confused, forget about all of that. Just simply make your love to the self and obviously talk to yourself absolutely that you are the most special being on this planet Earth, and you are manufactured, you are crafted, you are uniquely positioned. You cannot have a better being than you is good enough. And that's it.
Ah.
You can do all the things without doing whatever I just
This
talked
is
about.
almost the best thing that you've said thus far. This is the drive of my book. This is the motor. I'm literally one chapter away from finishing. It's that journey back to that initial heart that we were gifted with by source when we were born. That's what that book is about. So I mean, obviously combining everything that you said, and it just gives me more power to finish this last chapter. Dr. Sweta, do you have anything else to add in terms, we had originally said your brain blueprint decides the footprint of your life. I mean, basically you've said so many things, but what would be your like boost to put together or wrap up in a way
Absolutely.
this amazing topic with what you're saying?
What I would urge every single person to do is self-inquiry. So we have crafted some simple charts called sort charts. So we would sort you out essentially. So strengths, opportunities, resistances, and techniques to overcome those resistances. My message to the world is going to be, if you are a student, a high school student, a post-college student, or an adult, I think we all need some form of a blueprint for life. Blueprint for life when it comes to how do I navigate my relationships? How do I do my work better? What is the career choice that I can have where I'm only joyful? What is the type of the profession? What is the type of the business? What is the type of the communication, the social network that I build? Everything needs a blueprint. And my sort of passion says, or my work also, and which is being published in the book also says that, if you are able to bring in a little bit of your self-inquiry of the brain types and lay it out, your life design print can easily be mapped. Your strengths can be mapped, your opportunities, your ways, your techniques, how you can navigate your relationships better. Everything can be very well mapped. And that is the essence of life, that, it's like navigation, GPS. Let's call it the GPS of life. So if let's say my younger self was being told that this is what I can do best in life, or this is what my relationship worries I have to be careful about, this is what I need to be working in a certain work or a profession, it would have helped me immensely. And this is my purpose with the book, that just get help from this neuroscience pearls. Neuroscience and brain science is amazing and very easy and applicable. And I would suggest every one of you to please undergo and do this exercise. I mean, we are not hooking any electrodes, neurons. We are not doing any surgeries. It's a simple assessment online. It's available on the app, on the web. Go ahead, do it, talk to us. I'm always available. And I wish every single person to embrace their own purpose, or ikigai, meaning, and always do noble thinking, noble thoughts, noble work. And my wishes are always there.
Wow, this is amazing information. How do we get the link that you're talking about also in your book?
The link is available online by just scanning a QR code in the book. And that is how you can get access to the brain exam that I'm talking about, the brain assessment, the type 1, 2, 3, and 4. Amazing stuff you will see when you know what is your brain type. Because as I said, your brain type will decide your choices. And if you are able to predict those choices, you can make magic with life.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So everybody, let's go find out what kind of brain we have so we can really make the right decisions and go in the right direction. Stop wasting time. Stop wasting time and make everything happen. Dr. Sweta, where can people find you? Give us all we'll both exchange our social media so whoever sees this can follow our work, because it's really uniting, your expertise with people that come along the way, and we can be a brighter, bigger force to be an inspiration to others.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you, Val. And I have been following whatever you have been talking, and I think we are all amazing. I think we are blessed. Again, I would say that blessed to be around with social media, knowing each other and following each other's work. So at drshweta.aratia is my Instagram page. But you can just type in Dr. Shweta Aratia. You can find also me on LinkedIn. I try and write something about the brain, a little bit of tidbits about the neuroscience of applications in daily life. We have a very special program called Brainwave Life. where I teach personally about healthy life, which is no pill life, I call it. I also talk about amazing or magical relationships. It's all based on various applications of the same science, which you just heard me. So you can go on to www.drshwetarathia.com and you'll find all the information. Thank you, Val, again.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And for me, Val Alino Coach on Instagram, Val Alino Coach also on Facebook, LinkedIn, Val Alino, as well as YouTube. And we are here to serve you. I know this has been of service to you, so please don't be shy to share this information near and far, because these are like so much nuggets of wisdom that is scientifically based, that are going to bring you a better, brighter opportunity to live your fullest life, to enjoy, to embrace, to be free, and finally make the life that you've always planned with a plan. So we're doing the science part, and then the things I do and the things that you watching that you do, we are all a contribution, because the bottom line is that we are one with all. So without further ado, we close with the most uplifting love and gratitude and grace. And we thank you for being here, and please continue to follow us so we continue to grow together.
All right. Thank you, guys. And thank you, Val. See you then.
Thank you.